If you struggle blending or just want to improve all around, this video is for you. Today I'm showing a mid-ball fade with a 2-guard on top, lever closed with the grain. Now the top is already cut down, and I'm beginning with my trimmers that are, they're not zero gap, they're set for sensitive areas. That way this line isn't set in stone as much. I'll be able to get it out with my zero gap magic clip blades. So dropping it down in the back so that it contours to the shape of the head. Now I did the front, I compared to the other side, and I realized that I took that second side higher, so I had to match the lower side to it. After getting that even all the way around, I'm using a foil shaver. I don't use it on the back of the head because a lot of clients get razor bumps there. So the second area, this is an alternative blend. Most people go bald and then no guard lever open on the magic clips. What I'm doing is I went bald with the trimmers, and now I'm coming in with my half guard lever all the way closed for our second area. This area is about an inch and a quarter in width. And as always, I'll make it a little bit wider, more like 1.5 inches in the back, because the back of the head is longer than the sides are. And this allows you to have an even, consistent blend all the way around. So now I'm just making sure I'm making my second area with the half guard lever closed even all the way around. And now I have my 1.5 guard lever closed for my third area. Making sure that I'm flicking out off the shape of the skull. And it's creating a slight line above it, which we'll remove after this. Okay, and I'm going against the grain, so I have to angle my clippers so that it cuts all hairs evenly. And now with my 2-guard, I start with the lever all the way open, and I flick out right as I go above the perennial ridge or the hat line. Then I close the lever all the way and lighten that line. Flicking out, exaggerate it. That's the base of all blending, flicking out. So I'm just doing the same thing all the way around. I'm going in there with the lever all the way open, making a pretty wide area, almost a 2-inch wide area. Then I'm closing the lever and going about halfway into that area and flicking out. The line created in between the 1.5 guard and the 2-guard area can sometimes be removed on different people's hair using just that 2-guard. On this client, I'm going to have to come back in with the lever all the way open on my 1.5 guard. I'm going about 1/4 of the way into that 2-guard area, and then I'm closing it to the halfway point, and I'm completely connecting the 1.5 guard and the 2 guards area. And when I'm blending, I tend to just do a 4-inch wide section at a time, and then I move on to the next and continue on with cycling through my lever positions. Based on the individual's hair, you may have to switch up and make adjustments as you're going through your lever positions and do it a little bit different than what I say here. But I believe that this order of blending will give you the basic structure for the best gradual blend. Some people like faster blends, some people like longer blends. I prefer a more gradual blend that is stretched out throughout the sides and the back of the hair. If you're doing a low fade, then of course it's more of a compacted blend. So I typically use a different order of guards when I'm setting in my areas. Okay, a little bit of lever play still with the 1.5 guard. And now here I have my 1 guard. I have the lever all the way closed. And I'm going about 1/4 inch into that 1.5 guard closed area. And you can still see a line underneath it present that's in between the half guard closed and the 1.5 guard closed area. So I'm doing this all the way around. And I'm just leaving that faint line underneath it. Now we're going to put the half guard on with the lever halfway open. We're going to go just above that faint line where the half guard area and the 1.5 guard area meet. And then we're going to close the lever down to the 1/4 mark and completely remove that line. And just repeating over and over as I move around the head. So here we go, halfway open. We're going just above that line. We close it to the quarter way open mark. We remove that line completely. Moving right along, I'm already happy with the way this blend is looking. It's pretty much connected to the top already. We'll just have to blend this bottom line out where the bald area meets the half guard closed area. So no guard, we got the lever 3/4 of the way open. We go about 3/4 of the way into the half guard area. I drop down to about the quarter of the way open on my lever, and then I drop down to about quarter of the way into that area. And now I'm going to close the lever all the way, and with my zero gap blades, I'll completely remove the line between the trimmers and the half guard areas. Of course, we're just working our way around the back, going in the same order, and now we are bouncing around and just adjusting as needed. Because again, you use these areas as a guide, and then you have to adjust as needed. You have to customize the haircut for each client's scalp. You'll see this client has a light spot diagonal above his ear. That's because his scalp protrudes outwards, and then next to it there's an indentation. So it creates shadows and light spots in the blend, so I'm adjusting as needed. So now we got to make this side look like the other. So again, we start out lever 3/4 of the way open. We go 3/4 of the way into the half guard area. We close the lever to a quarter way open and go about a quarter of the way into that half guard area. Then close the lever all the way and get that line all the way out. Make sure you're tilting the client to your best light at all times. Nothing's worse than walking outside with your client and seeing that his blend is trash in the natural light. So you have to get the right light set up, and you have to make sure that you're adjusting and leaning their head a certain way to get the best angle and the best perspective on the blend. A lot of times when you're looking at the front angle, you can see the blend on the side. It just shows lines of demarcation. That's a good way to check it once you've ran through all your areas. I'm just being very careful. You'll see I have my index finger on the side of my blades. This is giving me a little bit more control. When you're going from 3/4 of the way into an area to a quarter away to right on the line, you have to be very precise. So having my index finger on that blade does help me to steady it, gives me pinpoint accuracy. And I checked it from the front, and I seen over the ear that there was still a line there. Now, I'm not going to be making this blend perfect just yet because I'm going to be laying it down with product, laying the hair down with product, and it may change the blend some. So you don't ever want to go up too high. You want to be about 85% done with your blend before you apply any products to lay it down. And I'm getting there. So now to finish this area, I didn't want to take up the blend too high, so I'm going to be careful, and I'm going to be using my blending shears. Blending shears have a comb on one side and a scissor on the other. Thinning shears are for texturizing and thinning out hair. You have a comb on both sides. Shear point technique is good for those little spots that are just dark for no reason. It's cut the same length as all the hair around it, it's just dark. So you just pinpoint it with the shear point. And I'm looking through with my camera and I'm seeing different flaws that I just didn't see with my regular eyesight. So you should always be filming your work to critique it later. You get a chance to see, because we can make excuses like, oh, that guy was moving, that's why that looks like that. Or that kid, he kept moving, or he kept falling asleep, that's why his hair was dirty, that's why it looked like that. But if you're filming it, then you could spot that you're doing these same negative trends on everybody. So that it's not them, it's actually you, and something that you need to adjust. Over my career, I've been influenced by tons of different barbers and learned a lot of different stuff. I encourage you to do the same. I'm not going to tell you everything that's going to apply to you. What I'm going to do is tell you what works for me, and you could go through and you pick out what parts work. Hey, I'm not offended at all, because that's how it goes. Sometimes I'll watch someone's 20-minute video and just do the lineup over the ears different, something small as that. But that's all this game is about, is just learning from multiple people and applying what applies to your style and what you like. Take a little bit from this person, that person, put your own spin on it. There you go, you got a unique style. Beginning the laydown process, I sprayed his hair with the leave-in conditioner, followed by a gel cream for waves. I'm brushing it with a soft bristle brush, and making sure that I'm following the wave pattern so that it lays down properly and shows the blend how it's supposed to look. So I'm securing the do-rag on this client's head, making sure that there's minimal wrinkles. You don't want lines in the blend or in his waves. You don't want to tie it too tight neither. After I tie it up, I'll hold the front of it and I'll pull the back remaining fabric, and this will tighten up the crown. Now I have my high heat, high fan setting on my blow dryer, only for like 20 seconds, and then I move over to doing the beard. I have the one guard closed. I'm going with the grain, and now on his mustache, I have no guard lever open. And now I'm taking the neck strip, 91% alcohol. I'm stripping any natural oil from the skin and the hair that's around my perimeter. It's going to interfere with my blades working how they're supposed to. So now I'm hitting him with some more heat. That should dry up pretty quick. I didn't really wet his hair very much at all. I tend to start with the back line on my beards with my sharper liners. When I get to the bottom of it, I use my sensitive area liner so it don't whelp the neck. I move on to the lip line on the mustache, then the top line, bottom of the beard. It's important that you don't take that neckline up too high. It's the first sign that someone did their own beard, and it also just looks weird. It may look cool from the front of them, but when they turn their head, it's above their jawline, and it looks weird. Okay, so it's looking like the hair is laid down pretty well from that gel cream, so I'm doing the same thing, stripping the oil from the lineup. And now the hairs that I cut with the trimmer, I'm going to remove them with the foil shaver, and this will just help when it comes time to razor line. There'll be less drag on my razor. Now that the alcohol dried out a little bit, I went ahead and sprayed them with a holding spray and brushed it in with a soft bristle brush. And while that's drying, I'm going to remove all the stray hairs that are flying away. Establishing my temple lines. He has pretty strong C-cups, so I just put that line there. I usually wait till the end or after the front line to do those. So I start in the middle, typically doing the front line, and I move towards the side that's the furthest back naturally. And now that this is set in place, I know exactly how to do the other side. Making sure that I don't push this side up higher, and then we got to push the higher side up even more. So making sure them angles and corners are right. I remove all that cut hair. And now I usually tilt my clients back. And I'm going to go, you'll see the angle that I'm using, almost straight down. Removing those hairs that are flying away off the lineup. And it really makes a big difference, and it makes the haircut last more without the hair flipping up in the front. Moving on to the razor line, I have a shave solution pre-applied. Having the client stretch his top lip so I can hit the mustache. I would say this is one of the highest level of difficulty areas using your razor. So if you're a new barber, just be extra careful that you're not digging into the skin to get you a sharp line. So on the cheek where the beard meets the mustache, I typically have the client puff out his cheek to create a flat surface where it naturally dips in. Now on the other side, I begin where the mustache meets the beard. I then turn the client and I compare it to the other side from the front view. Then I bring that line a little bit further back and I turn him again to compare the curve, because symmetry is everything in haircuts. Making sure that I'm making the sideburn the same width as the other side. And then with the steam towel, I remove all that shave solution. Then I follow up with a 70% isopropyl alcohol and witch hazel mix, equal parts. And then with a powdered towel, I'm drying them off and brushing them with a soft bristle brush to help dry out any moisture left over by the lineup. Removing any loose hairs. Just touching up any hairs that are outside the line. This haircut's pretty much done, but this is the fine tuning that really sets you apart from other barbers. So I'm going to hit all the strays on top before I apply a pomade. Soft bristle brush follow with my hand to pack the hair down. This is going to give a nice shine to the hair as well. So I'll tie a do-rag on there, and after that's secured, I'll do a high heat setting and high fan setting with my diffuser on. And this will allow the product to melt down and really absorb into the hair and give it that look and control that we're looking for. And then I let it sit and allow the product to dry again. And while I'm doing this, I put a natural ash line on the beard, and this helps frame my work and really lets me see any hairs that are flying outside of my line. So I adjust those hairs, and then I'll move on to applying a semi-permanent dye. I typically use this when the client has some gray mixed in with his beard so that this can actually dye it some. It lasts a little bit longer. Less is more. You don't want to overdo it. This client has a nice, prominent, natural line, and this is just enhancing it. And yes, you should do the mustache. I'm not sure why everyone thinks that nobody notices, but it's very blatant and obvious when you just do the sides and not the mustache. Why is everyone skipping that? That makes no sense to me. Guys look ridiculous out here. Also, if there's no hair there, don't spray nothing there. That shit looks crazy. If right where the beard connects to the mustache, if that's weak, then you spray a weak amount of spray there, just like I do on the faded sideburn. You want to be tasteful with the way that you apply these extras. That way it don't look tacky. Tan barber pencil around the perimeter. Now I'm putting a little bit of distilled water all over his facial hair, followed by a leave-in conditioner. Follow with the beard oil to lock in the moisture. The leftover remnants of the oil on your gloves can be used to wipe away or really lighten up that barber pencil so that it's not so prominent, doesn't look tacky. Using my soft bristle brush to help brush it away. Now let's see where we're at after the pomade. Looks nice. We got a few touch-ups to do, which is expected. Listen, I'm not showing you how to do 20-minute haircuts and cut 28 people in one day. That's not my style of cutting. If it's yours, that's all right. You could potentially make more money than all of us by running it like an assembly line. But me personally, I just don't like to cut like that. And after years of being this way, I acquired a clientele that appreciates it. So I have 2 index cards, and I get the point where the temple line meets the C-cup area, and then I'll do the temple line. Then I'll start the C-cup, making sure that I'm lightening up on the trigger as I'm getting closer to the bald, obviously, to give it that faded look. We're trying to fool the eye into thinking that this is all natural. We don't want it to look like a magician out here with boot polish on his shit. Now that the line's perfect, I'm going to frame it with a tan barber pencil like I did with the beard. And the same thing, I'll be putting oil on his head to help lock in any moisture and shine his hair up, but it'll also help me remove the remaining barber pencil that got caked up. Barely any strays. That double do-rag process is really what I think makes all my haircuts look the best. It makes the blend look better, makes the lineup sharper, makes the haircut ultimately last longer for the clients. And finishing it off with an ash line. I typically cut 5 to 7 people a day. I work 4 days a week. I've been cutting hair 16 years. I've been appointments only since like 2011. And I'm still learning to this day, man. Don't ever think you're at a point where you're done or you're at the pinnacle of cutting. You're at the pinnacle when you say you are, when you decide you're done getting better. I'm light years ahead of where I was 5 years ago. And that's just because I sought out knowledge. I took no classes. I just watched people on Instagram or YouTube. Like I said, pick up a little bit from this guy, that guy. Add it to your arsenal. Before you know it, you have your own style and be where you want to be. And as we're going around finishing up, fine-tuning the haircut before it's over with, I just wanted to say thank you for watching. And if you like this video, you want to see more, subscribe to my channel. I'm going to continuously build this page up. So if you ever have any questions or requests, feel free to put them in the comments. I definitely don't mind. I got that tricky dark spot. He has a dip in his scalp on this side as well, so it's creating that shadow above. So I pull out my blending shears as a safety net, not going too high. Now, in a perfect world, you won't have to do any touch-ups after you apply pomade and all the products, but hey, sometimes you have to. Get over it. It's better to have to go back at the end and touch it up than your blend to go up too high and then you got to push the other side up to match it and your whole haircut's sabotaged. I have an air tool, so I remove any cut loose hairs at the end, so he leaves out comfortable. Now I'm just getting the ash line on the other side, finishing it up. Front view, crispy. Razor combs are a nice safety net as well to get a little bit of the darkness or weight out without taking too much hair off. And just remember, you're going to have to practice high-level services before you charge high-level prices. If you go up too soon on your prices, people will just stop coming to you. If you develop a high-level clientele and skill set slowly but surely, you'll have a clientele that'll never leave you. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and I'll see you again soon.